The next question is the 12th one. F of x is x e power minus x. We have to determine the interval in which f of x increases. For that we have to differentiate, we have to determine f dash x. To determine f dash x we have to use the product rule. So x into e power minus x, for minus x the derivative is minus 1 plus e power minus x into x, the derivative of x is 1. Now we can take out e power minus x. If you take out e power minus x, you will be left with minus x plus 1. For an increasing function f dash x should be greater than 0. This implies minus x plus 1 greater than 0. In other words, minus x is greater than minus 1 or x is less than 1. Remember, whenever you cancel negative, whenever you have a negative sign on both the sides, if you cancel negative sign, you have to reverse the inequality. Here we have minus x greater than minus 1. If you cancel that negative sign, you have to reverse the inequality. Greater than becomes less than. So this is whenever you cancel a negative number, you have to follow this rule. So x should be less than 1 means this implies x belongs to minus infinity comma 1. So this is the answer. So it is option number 3. Option 3 is the correct answer. Question is problem number 13. F of x is given, it is 4x cube minus 18x square plus 24x plus 6. Determine f dash x. In this problem we have to find the interval where f of x is strictly increasing. So for that we have to find f dash x. So it is 12x square minus 36x plus 24. This is the derivative of f. So it can be written as 12 times x square minus 3x plus 2 by taking out 12. Now we can factorize this one. This can be written as x minus 1 into x minus 2. X square minus 3x plus 2 can be written as x minus 1 into x minus 2. Now we equate f dash to 0. This implies x is equal to 1 or 2. Now mark 1 and 2 on the number line. The number line gets divided into 3 parts. So here all the numbers are greater than 2. Here the numbers lie between 1 and 2. Here the numbers are less than 1. So suppose we substitute a number greater than 2. Say 3. Suppose we substitute x equal to 3 here. 3 minus 1 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 minus 1 positive. 3 minus 2 is also positive. Positive into positive is positive. In this entire interval f dash is positive. Now substitute a number between 1 and 2. Say 1.5. 1.5 minus 1 is positive, whereas 1.5 minus 2 is negative. If you substitute 1.5 here, this becomes positive. If you substitute 1.5 here, this becomes negative. Positive into negative is negative. In this whole interval, f dash is negative. Now consider a number lying in this interval, any number. Suppose we substitute 0. 0 belongs to this interval. If you substitute 0 here, 0 minus 1 is negative. 0 minus 2 is also negative. Negative into negative is positive. So same thing happens for other numbers also. You just consider one number, substitute. So whatever happens to that number happens to the remaining numbers also. Here we tested only for 3. Same thing happens for other numbers. Here we tested for 1.5. Same thing happened for the remaining numbers within this interval. So in this interval, this is positive. Here it is negative. From 2 to infinity, it is positive. Therefore, for f dash to be positive, x should belong to the interval minus infinity comma 1 union 2 comma infinity. So this is the required interval. It is option number 3. So the correct answer is option 3. Next question is question number 14. So y is x log x. Again we have to determine the interval in which y is strictly increasing. For that again we have to determine the derivative. We have to use the product rule. So it is x into 1 by x plus log x into 1. So it turns out to be 1 plus log x. For y to be strictly increasing, we should have dy by dx greater than 0. A function is increasing provided the derivative is greater than 0. Here the derivative is 1 plus log x. That should be greater than 0. Or log x should be greater than minus 1, or x should be greater than e power minus 1. That is, x is greater than 1 by e, that is x belongs to 1 by e comma infinity. So this is the interval in which y equal to x log x is strictly increasing. So therefore it is option number 1. So option 1 is the correct answer. Now we move on to question number 15. Question number 15 is f of x equal to e power x, integral of e power x into x square minus 7x plus 12. We have to determine the interval where f of x strictly decreases. So for that we have to differentiate. Remember, differentiation and integration, they are reverse process of each other. Therefore the derivative of f is given by e power x into x square minus 7x plus 12. So the derivative of this function is simply e power x into x square minus 7x plus 12. Now this can be written as x minus 3 into x minus 4. Now equate f dash to 0. If you equate f dash to 0, you get two values for x equal to 3 or 4. This cannot be 0 because this is always positive. E power x is always positive. Therefore, if you equate f dash to 0, you get x equal to 3 or x equal to 4. Now mark these numbers on the number line. Now substitute a number greater than 4, say 5. When you put x equal to 5, this is positive. 5 minus 3 is positive. 5 minus 4 is also positive. All are positive, therefore the product is positive. So for any number greater than 4, f dash is positive. Now take a number between 3 and 4, say 3.5. 3.5 minus 3 is positive, whereas 3.5 minus 4 is negative. Therefore positive into negative is negative. Now put a number less than 3, say 0. 0 minus 3 is negative, 0 minus 4 is negative, negative into negative is positive. Now this is the required interval, 3, 4 is the required interval, because in this interval the derivative is less than 0, that is negative. Therefore f of x is strictly decreasing in this interval. Therefore 3, 4 is the interval where f of x is strictly decreasing, and it is option number 3. So option 3 is the correct answer. Now we move on to question number 16. In this problem, a curve xy is equal to a square is given and tangent is drawn at the point x1, y1. x1, y1 is a point on this curve. At this point a tangent is drawn. So this is the curve xy is equal to a square. This is x1, y1. A tangent is drawn at x1, y1. We have to then the tangent forms a triangle with x and y axis. We have to determine area of this triangle. First let us determine the equation of the tangent at x1, y1. x1, y1 lies on this curve means we have x1, y1 is equal to a square. Remember this. So x1, y1 is a square. Now let us differentiate xy is equal to a square. This implies x into, for y it is dy by dx. For x it is 1. For a square it is 0. So therefore dy by dx is minus y by x. Shift that y to that side, minus y, and divide by x. So minus y by x. So dy by dx at p is equal to minus y1 by x1. So this is the value of dy by dx at p. Now equation of the tangent is y minus y1 is equal to dy by dx. The value of dy by dx is minus y1 by x1 into x minus x1. So equation of a line is given by y minus y1 into is equal to slope into x minus x1. Y minus y1 is equal to slope into x minus x1. Slope is minus y1 by x1. Now cross multiply. By cross multiplying we get x1y minus x1y1 is equal to minus xy1 plus x1y1. Or it is same as xy1 plus yx1 is equal to 2x1y1 by shifting this to RHS and this to LHS. So we get xy1 plus yx1 is equal to 2x1y1. Dividing throughout by 2x1y1. Dividing by 2x1y1 we get x divided by, if you divide by 2x1y1, y1 gets cancelled, you get x by 2x1 plus y by 2y1 is equal to 1. So this is the equation of the tangent, and this is the x-intercept. That means this length is 2x1. X-intercept means this length, and this is the y-intercept, because equation of this line is of the form x by a plus y by b is equal to 1. x by a plus y by b equal to 1 is the intercept form. A is the x-intercept and b is the y-intercept. This is the x-intercept. That means this length is 2x1 and this length is 2y1. So we know these two sides. Therefore, area of the triangle is half of this length, which is 2x1, into this length, which is 2y1. Half of base into height. So that turns out to be 2x1 y1. But x1 y1 from equation 1 is a square. So this is 2a square units. So that is the required answer. 2a square units is the required answer, which is option 2. Option 2 is the correct answer. Question number 17. In this problem, xy is equal to c square is the given curve and a tangent is drawn at x1 y1. x1 y1 is on this curve. At this point, x1 y1 on this curve, a tangent is drawn. That means the curve xy is equal to c square. Again, it is like this. It's a hyperbola. If you draw the tangent at p x1 y1, this is the tangent. The tangent meets x-axis at a and y-axis at b. And we have to determine the ratio in which p divides ab. What is the ratio in which p divides ab? That means we have to determine PA divided by PB, the ratio in which P divides AB. In the previous problem, we have determined the equation of the tangent. Equation of the tangent is this one: x by 2x1 plus y by 2y1 is equal to 1 is the equation of the tangent at Px1 y1. So this length is 2x1 means this is 2x1 comma 0. This length is 2y1 means this is 0 comma 2y1. We have done this we did it in the last problem. This length is 2x1, therefore A is 2x1 comma 0. This length is 2y1, therefore it is 0 comma 2y1. Now let us find the midpoint of AB. So midpoint of AB is, so what is the midpoint formula? Sum of the x coordinates divided by 2. Here the x coordinate is 2x1, here the x coordinate is 0. Add them. 2x1 plus 0. If you add them, you get 2x1 by 2, comma, add the y coordinates. 2y1 plus 0 is 2y1 by 2. That is x1, y1. That is nothing but P. That means midpoint of AB is P. P is the midpoint of AB means P divides AB in the ratio 1:1 because it is the midpoint. Therefore, P divides AB in the ratio 1:1. That is the required answer. So in this problem, we have to determine the ratio in which P divides AB. But P happens to be the midpoint of AB. Therefore, P divides AB in the ratio 1:1. Therefore, the required option is the third one. So option 3 is the correct answer. The next one is the 18th problem. In this problem, a curve y equal to minus x power 4 minus 8x plus 1 is given. We have to determine the angle made by any tangent with the x-axis. Whether that angle is acute angle, obtuse angle or right angle. So they are the options. What is the angle made by tangent with the x-axis? Suppose we draw tangent to this curve. What is the angle made by the tangent with the x-axis? The options are whether the angle is acute, obtuse or right angle. So for that we have to differentiate. So the derivative of x to the power of 5 is 5x power 4. The derivative of 8x is 8. If you take out minus sign, you get minus of 5x power 4 plus 8. X power 4 is an even number. Therefore, x power 4 is always non-negative. All even powers of x, they are non-negative. X square, x to the power of 4, x to the power of 6, x to the power of 8, x to the power of 10, they are all non-negative. So this is non-negative plus 8, that means this whole thing is positive. This is positive. But we have negative sign here, minus into plus is minus. Therefore, dy by dx at every point is less than 0. For this curve, dy by dx at every point is less than 0. But dy by dx means is the slope of the tangent. But slope of the tangent is tan theta. This is slope of the tangent. Slope of the tangent means tan theta. Tan theta is less than 0. Tan theta is less than 0 means theta is obtuse. So this is the required answer. So it is option number 2. The correct option is the second one. Question number 19. Here again a curve is given. It is y square equal to x times x minus 2 whole square. Suppose the curve is like this. Suppose this point is 1, 1. At this point a tangent is drawn. This is P. This meets the curve again at Q. We have to determine the coordinates of Q. Equation of the curve is y square equal to x times x minus 2 whole square. On this curve 1, 1 is a point on this curve. At 1, 1 we draw a tangent to the curve. The tangent meets the curve again at Q. What are the coordinates of Q? We have to determine Q. For that, first let us determine the equation of the tangent. So y square is equal to x times x square minus 4x plus 4. Or this turns out to be x cube minus 4x square plus 4x. So y square is equal to x cube minus 4x square plus 4x. Now differentiating, we get 2y into dy by dx. For y square the derivative is 2y into dy by dx. For x cube it is 3x square. For 4x square it is 8x. For 4x it is 4. Therefore dy by dx is equal to 3x square minus 8x plus 4 divided by 2y. So this is the value of dy by dx. Now we have to determine dy by dx at 1, 1. If you substitute 1, 1, you get minus half. This is the slope of the tangent. Now equation of the tangent is y minus 1 is equal to minus half into x minus 1. Because equation of the tangent is y minus y1 is equal to dy by dx into x minus x1. Using that formula, equation of the tangent is y minus 1 is equal to minus half into x minus 1. Cross multiplying, we get 2y minus 2 is equal to minus x plus 1, or we get x plus 2y is equal to 3. Now the first option is 2, 0. Now substitute 2, 0 in the equation of the tangent. If you substitute 2 and 0, you get 2 plus 0 equal to 3, which is false. Therefore this is not the answer. The third option is 4, 4. If you substitute 4 and 4 here, 4 plus 8 becomes 12. That is not equal to 3. Therefore 4, 4 also does not satisfy this equation. Therefore it is not 4, 4. The fourth option is 0, 0. If you substitute 0, 0 here, 0 plus 0 is equal to 3. Again false. Therefore this is also not the answer. Therefore it should be option 2. And option 2 satisfies this equation. Option 2 is 9 by 4, 3 by 8. If you substitute 9 by 4 for x and 3 by 8 for y, then after simplification you should 3. Therefore that is the right answer. We move on to question number 20. In this problem a curve is given. It is y equal to x square minus 5x plus 6. This is the curve. And we are drawing a tangent at x equal to 1. Suppose this is the curve, and at x equal to 1 we draw a tangent that forms a triangle. We have to find the area of this triangle. We have to find the area of triangle AOB. This point here x is 1. To find y coordinate of this point, we have to substitute x equal to 1 here. So substituting x equal to 1, you get y equal to 1 square 5 into 1 plus 6, that is equal to 2. So this the y coordinate of this point is 1, 2. For this point the y coordinate is 1, 2. Now we have to determine the equation of the tangent. For that we have to differentiate y equal to x square minus 5x plus 6. dy by dx is 2x minus 5. At the point 1, 2, dy by dx is, we have to substitute 1 in place of x. So this turns out to be minus 3. So that is the value of dy by dx. dy by dx is minus 3. Now equation of the tangent is y minus y1, y1 is 2, is equal to dy by dx minus 3 into x minus x1 is 1. So y minus 2 is equal to minus 3x plus 3, or 3x plus y is equal to 5. Now this can be written as 3x by 5 plus y by 5 is equal to 1, or x divided by 5 by 3 plus y divided by 5 is equal to 1. So this is again in the intercept form. So this is a, this is b. So x by a plus y by b is 1. This is a. That means this length is 5 by 3 and this length is 5. Now area of the triangle is given by half of base into height. Therefore area of triangle AOB is equal to half of base is 5 by 3, height is 5. So that turns out to be 25 by 6 square units, and which is option number 2. So for this problem, the right answer is option 2. Question number 21. In this problem, an equilateral triangle is given. Its perimeter is increasing at the rate of 1 centimeter per second. Rate of change of perimeter is 1 centimeter per second. And also we have to determine the rate of change of area of this equilateral triangle when the perimeter is 18 centimeters. So these are the given things. dp by dt is given to be 1 centimeter per second, and we have to determine rate of change of area when p is equal to 18 centimeters. So we have to determine the rate of change of area of the triangle when the perimeter is 18 centimeters. Because the sides are varying, let us take the length of each side to be x. Perimeter is 18 centimeter implies 3x is 18. Perimeter means sum of the sides of the triangle. The x plus x plus x, it is 3x. 3x is 18 means x is equal to 6 centimeters. Now perimeter of a triangle is again 3x. This implies dp by dt, differentiating with respect to time, we get dp by dt equal to 3 times dx by dt. But dp by dt is given. It is given to be 1. Therefore 1 is equal to 3 times dx by dt. Therefore dx by dt is 1 by 3 centimeters per second. But we have to determine rate of change of area of the, for an equilateral triangle, area is given by root 3 by 4 x square. Remember this very important formula. Area of an equilateral triangle is root 3 by 4 x square. Now we have to find dA by dt. For x square, the derivative is 2x into dx by dt. We know the value of x. The value of x is 6 and dx by dt is 1 by 3. So after simplification, we get root 3 centimeter square per second. So this is the required answer. It is root 3 centimeter square per second. It is option 1. We move on to question number 22. In this problem, a curve is given. It is y equal to 2x cube plus 3x square minus 30x. It is given that y changes 6 times as fast as x. That means it is given that dy by dt is equal to 6 times dx by dt. This is given. And we have to determine the value of x where this happens. For what value of x, dy by dt is 6 times dx by dt? That is the question. Y is given and the condition is dy by dt should be equal to 6 times dx by dt. So y is given, differentiating with respect to time or t, we get dy by dt equal to 6x square plus 6x minus 30 into dx by dt, because we are differentiating with respect to t. Therefore for y we have to write dy by dt, for x at each term we have to write dx by dt, or we can take out dx by dt. It is 6x square into dx by dt, 6x into dx by dt, 30 dx by dt. Dx by dt we have taken out, therefore it is 6x square plus 6x minus 30. Now use this condition, dy by dt is 6 times dx by dt. So 6 times dx by dt is equal to 6x square plus 6x minus 30 into dx by dt. Now cancel dx by dt, you get 6 equal to 6x square, 6x minus 30. Now shift that 6 to RHS, you get 6x square plus 6x minus 36. Divide throughout by x, you get x square plus x minus 6 equal to 0. This can be factorized as x plus 3 into x minus 2 equal to 0, or you get x equal to minus 3 or 2. So the required values of x are minus 3 or 2, which is option 3. Yes, next question is question number 23. It is given that a particle moves according to the law S equal to t cube by 3 minus 4t square plus 12t. We have to determine the distance traveled by the particle before it comes to rest for the first time. So it comes to rest means the velocity should be 0. That means ds by dt is 0. A particle comes to rest provided the velocity is 0. Velocity 0 means ds by dt is 0. We have to differentiate. For t cube it is 3t square by 3. For t square it is 2t. 4 into 2t is 8t. For 12t it is 12 equal to 0. Cancel 3. So you get a quadratic equation. T square minus 8t plus 12 equal to 0. You can factorize it. It is t minus 2 into t minus 6 equal to 0. Or you get a t equal to 2 or 6. We have to consider 2 because the particle comes to rest for the first time. It comes to rest at 2 times. When t is equal to 2 seconds and the second time when t is equal to 6 seconds. But we have to consider t equal to 2 seconds because the particle comes to rest for the first time. So what is the distance traveled by the particle before coming to rest for the first time? That means we have to determine S. We know the value of t. T is 2 seconds. And we have to determine the value of S. That means we have to determine the displacement. To determine the displacement, we have to substitute t equal to 2 in S. So when you substitute t equal to 2 in S, you get S equal to 2 cube by 3, 4 into 2 square, 12 into 2, that is 8 by 3 minus 16 plus 24, that turns out to be 32 by 3 meters. So this is the final answer. So before coming to rest for the first time, the particle travels a distance of 32 by 3 meters. So it is option number 1. Question number 24. The given curve is x square plus y square is equal to 8. We have to determine a point on this curve where dy by dt is equal to dx by dt. It is given that rate of change of y is equal to rate of change of x. So at what point dy by dt is equal to dx by dt? So we have to determine that point. So let us differentiate x square. For x square it is 2x into dx by dt. For y square it is 2y into dy by dt. For 8 the derivative is 0. Now 2x into dx by dt is equal to minus 2y into dy by dt. We can cancel these two because they are equal. Similarly, we can cancel 2. We get x equal to minus y. So to determine the point, we have to substitute x equal to minus y here. Substitute x equal to minus y in x square plus y square is equal to 8. So if you substitute x equal to minus y, you get minus y whole square plus y square equal to 8. Or 2y square is equal to 8. Or y square is equal to 4. Or y is equal to minus 2 or plus 2. If y is equal to minus 2, x is equal to minus y, that is 2. If you substitute minus 2 here, minus of minus 2 is plus 2. In that case, the point is 2 comma minus 2. If y is equal to 2, then x is equal to minus 2. In that case, the point is minus 2 comma 2. So the answer is 2 comma minus 2 or minus 2 comma 2. So it is option 1. Option 1 it is minus 2 comma 2. Minus 2 comma 2 is given. It is option 1. So that is the right answer. Question number 25. In this question, it is given that rate of change of perimeter of a square is equal to rate of change of its area. So perimeter of a square is 4x, whereas area is x square. So if x is the length of each side of the square, then the perimeter is 4x and the area is x square. We have dp by dt equal to 4 times dx by dt, and dA by dt is equal to 2x into dx by dt. Now both dp by dt and dA by dt, they are equal. So we have dp by dt equal to dA by dt. It is given in the problem that rate of change of perimeter is same as rate of change of area of the square. Therefore we have 4 times dx by dt equal to 2x into dx by dt. Can cancel dx by dt. So we have 4 equal to 2x, or x is equal to 2. So therefore, the length of the square is 2 units. It is option number 1. Question number 26. In this problem, an equilateral triangle is given. Its sides are increasing at the rate of 2 centimeter per second. So the rate of change of side of the triangle is 2 centimeters per second. And we have to determine rate of change of area when x is equal to 10 centimeters. So when x is 10 centimeters, so x is the length of each side of the equilateral triangle. We have to determine dA by dt. For an equilateral triangle, area is given by root 3 by 4 x square. So this is the formula for the area of an equilateral triangle, and you have to remember this formula. We have to differentiate with respect to t. So dA by dt is root 3 by 4 into 2x into dx by dt. The value of x is given, it is 10, and dx by dt is 2. So it is root 3 by 4 into 2 into x is given to be 10, and dx by dt is 2. So we get 10 root 3 centimeter square per second. So that is the rate of change of area of the equilateral triangle, and it is option 2. So we move on to question number 27. In this problem, the height of a particle which is projected upwards is given by this equation, h is equal to 80t minus 16t square. And we have to determine the velocity at which that particle hits the ground. That means at the time of hitting the ground, what is the velocity of the particle? So when it hits the ground, h is 0. h0 implies 80t minus 16t square is equal to 0. And this implies 80t is equal to 16t square. And this implies 80 is equal to 16t, or t equal to 5 seconds. So it takes 5 seconds to hit the ground, and we have to determine the velocity at the end of 5 seconds. So to determine velocity, we have to differentiate h. h is 80t minus 16t square. dh by dt gives velocity. So dh by dt is 80 minus 32t. If t is equal to 5 seconds, dh by dt is equal to 80 minus 32 into 5, that is 80 minus 160, that is minus 80 centimeters per second. So this is the velocity with which it hits the ground. So it is minus 80 centimeters per second. It is option number 1. So question number 28. In this problem, it is given that a stone is thrown vertically upwards from the top of a tower. The height of the tower is 64 feet. The tower is 64 feet tall. From the top of the tower, a stone is thrown upwards. And the height of the stone is given by the equation s equal to 48t minus 16t square. We have to determine the maximum height of the stone from the ground. So that means the answer should be greater than 64 feet. At the maximum point, velocity is 0. That means ds by dt is 0 at the maximum point. So ds by dt equal to 0 implies 48 minus 32 is equal to 0. Derivative of 48t is 48. For 16t square, the derivative is 32t. Now we have to determine the value of t. Minus 32t is equal to minus 48, or t is equal to 3 by 2. So it takes 3 by 2 seconds to reach the maximum height. When t is equal to 3 by 2, the value of s is 48 into 3 by 2 minus 16 times 3 by 2 whole square. You have to substitute for t. The value of t is 3 by 2. You have to substitute t equal to 3 by 2 in this equation. So it is 48 into 3 by 2 minus 16 into 3 by 2 whole square. So it is 72 minus 36, that is 36. So this is the height of the stone from the top of the tower, but the tower itself is 64 feet. So height of the tower is 64 feet. From the top of the tower, the stone goes a height of 36 feet. So 36 36 is the height of the stone from the top of the tower, and the tower is 64 feet. The total height is 100 feet. So maximum height of the stone is equal to 100 feet. It is the sum of these two heights. 64 plus 36, that is 100 feet, which is option 1. Question number 29. In this problem, a variable cube is given, and each edge of the cube is increasing at the rate of 10 centimeters per second. Let x be the length of each edge of the cube. So each edge of the cube has length x. It is given that dx by dt is equal to 10 centimeters per second. And we have to determine rate of change of volume when the edge is 5 centimeters. The volume of a cube is x cube. So the volume of the cube is given by x cube. We have to find out dv by dt. dv by dt is 3x square into dx by dt. But x is given to be 5 centimeters. So we have to substitute x equal to 5, and dx by dt is given, it is 10. So it is 750 centimeter cube per second. So this is the rate of change of volume of the cube. It is option 1. Option 1 is the right answer. Question number 30. The last question in this section. In this problem, a function is given. It is x by 1 plus x square, and we have to determine the interval in which f of x is strictly increasing. For that, we have to determine the derivative of f of x. So we have to use the quotient rule in this case. So first we have to square the denominator. Now write the denominator as it is, and write the derivative of the numerator. The numerator is x, its derivative is 1, minus, write the numerator as it is, then write down the derivative of the denominator, which is 2x. So after simplifying, it becomes 1 minus x square by 1 plus x square whole square. For function to strictly decrease, the derivative should be less than 0. That means we should have f dash x less than 0. And this implies 1 minus x square by 1 plus x square whole square is less than 0. And this implies 1 minus x square is less than 0. You can cross multiply this number because it is positive. So 1 minus x square is less than 0, or 1 is less than x square. So x square greater than 1. X square greater than 1 means x belongs to minus infinity comma minus 1 union 1 comma infinity. For x square to be greater than 1, either x should be greater than 1 or x should be less than minus 1. So therefore x belongs to the interval minus infinity comma minus 1 union 1 to infinity. It is option number 1.